Hello, this is Shawn,
This is Joe.
and this is the almost I almost said the Shady Dealings podcast. That's a throwback. Uh, this is the Fear and Broathing podcast. We're not talking about Pokemon
Where does
cards.
where does your loyalty lie, Shawn?
Well, the Shady Dealings podcast is now defunct. Has been for at least a year now. It's where I used to talk about Pokemon cards because I used to stream me playing the Pokemon TCG. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about The Guilty today, and it is a movie about Jake Jiggleballs and his. So we randomized these movies, and I was pretty bummed out that we were gonna have to watch after having worked at a call center for 40 hours this week. I had to sit down and watch a movie that takes place the entire time in a call center.
It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours long, but it felt like a shift for Shawn.
It was like I felt I felt like I was just back at work, but I don't work at a dispatch. I work at a call center for an airline, Delta, um, specifically. But yeah, this movie is not it's not great, but we had a lot of fun.
No.
We made fun of it quite a bit.
Yeah,
Like the
that's what
acting,
made it fun.
was okay at best. I think it had some good actors in
J-
it.
Jake was just going he was going too hard. I get he was supposed to be stressed the whole time, but he was just kind of overacting. And that's at first I liked the movie, but I think I was just entranced by Jake Jiggleballs.
Yeah,
And then the more I thought about it, days after, I was like, he was kind of going over the top for no reason. It wasn't necessary. He was overacting.
yeah. I kind of felt the same way. I feel like a lot of the times, like where the dialogue wasn't as smooth or whatever, and they were kind of just tripping over their words. I at first I felt that like it was like a good touch. It was like a nice touch that maybe he wouldn't know how to react to it, and that's fine. But they kind of overdid that aspect of it too, where he was just like, I mean,
Oh,
and it's just like grab a,
that was
and just like what the
that was
fuck.
getting on my nerves. I was getting anxious just listening to him. Like, just say it, just say it, Joe.
Spell it out, motherfucker.
Come on.
His name is Joe Baylor in the movie, but that is Jake Jiggleballs. That's his character, his Joe Baylor, and he is a police officer who is about to be back on the force. The very next, or well, no, he has to go through a trial, right? First or something like that. Like he's supposed to be back on the
Yeah.
force like soon because he says it later in the movie why he has to stand trial. It's because he shot somebody. Um,
And it never says why he shot somebody. He just shot somebody, some
uh,
kid.
he says it's because he could, which is
Oh,
that's fair because police officers have a lot of power, which bullshit. But so he's a
a lot
troubled.
of power, but not used correctly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We try not to be too political, but that's where I lean.
Yeah,
So,
same.
um, so yeah, troubled LAPD officer Joe Baylor, working at a call center for the LAPD, of course, and then he's got a court hearing, and then so he's working his shift. He has a couple calls. A couple of them are pretty funny. We get Paul Dano. He's like, "I got robbed by a hoe," and then. And he's like, I don't know, she had like pink. He's like, I don't know, she had pink hair or some shit. And then Jake Juggleball starts laughing. And then he calls another dispatcher or something, or no, he calls the police department. He's like, hey, this dude got robbed by a prostitute. Go out to wherever he is. And then Paul Dano's like, so are you sending somebody? I'm not getting out of my fucking car. And he was like, dude, just tell me where you are. He's like, dude, I just told you I'm not getting out of my fucking car. And this is one of the best actors in the world has a small cameo in this movie on the phone, and that's Paul Dano, and it's fantastic. Probably my favorite part of the movie. He's like, I'm not getting out of my phone.
I thought Paul Dano was Henry for the longest time.
Yeah. But that was
They sound a lot. I think it's
Peter Sarsgaard. Peter Sarsgaard's Henry. But Paul Dano was the guy who got robbed by the prostitute. Which
Paul. I'll do it again.
Yeah, Matthew Fontenot is who he plays. He's the guy who gets robbed. So yeah. Anyway, that happens, and then
I kind of derailed you. My bad. I was just thinking about Henry.
Yeah, and we'll get to that because I thought it was Paul Dano too, but boy was I wrong. we went into this movie completely blind. We didn't read any of the synopsis. We didn't read the cast list. We were just like, all right, Jake Jiggleballs is on the cover. There's words that are making up his face and his eyeballs and his hair, and that's the movie poster. And his hair, Jake Jiggleballs.
Jiggleballs.
So we've got him, and then he's talked to Paul Dano. He's laughed at somebody. He's supposed to be doing a professional. He's supposed to be a professional. I laugh at people all the time when they say shit, though. Whenever like I'll get calls that are just so stupid that I can't help but laugh. I've once made the mistake of laughing while they were still on the phone. But that's only happened once or twice. But Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know if we should keep saying Jake Jiggleballs, but just randomly just throw it in or something. But Jake Gyllenhaal.
I think as everyone knows, it's Jake Gyllenhaal we're talking about.
Yeah.
When we say Jake Jiggleballs,
Yeah.
It's just too much fun to say Jiggleballs.
It really is. Jake Jiggleballs, he then gets another phone call. He's like, all right, this is a stupid job. This is a shift. I gotta take this call. It's this girl. She's like, hello, hi, and she's like speaking super softly, and she's like, I just stay there, baby. You're go to bed. And she's talking like she would be talking to her child, and this is like Jake Jiggleballs is like, dude, fuck yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for today. So he straps in. He's like, all right, interesting, here we go. And then he starts talking to her like, yeah, just keep talking like you are talking to your child. That's cool. And then he's like, where are you at? And she's like, yeah, go to bed. Good night. Wanna drink a bee boo boo bop? And then like after that, he's just like, all right, Anna, where are you? And then I think it was at this point where he's like, I'm in. She's like, a van? And then Henry's like, what?
Yeah, it was about that time that started happening. And then, I think she had to answer like yes or no questions.
Yeah.
For, like, a while.
Oh no, that's when he found out because he was like, oh, doesn't she say van though? Like she says van or something. Like I'm in a van.
Yeah.
But like, because he's asking her all these yes or no questions, and they're all just trying to get information so he can figure out her location, and then she eventually slips up and she goes, I'm in a van, and then Henry's like, what did you say? But yeah, so he's just trying to locate where they are, and then he calls the California Highway Patrol, and is like, "Hey, I got this abduction that's happening right now." They're like, "Do you have the license plate?" He's like, "Fuck no, I don't have the license plate, bitch. They won't tell me." And then she's extremely rude. she's like this she's like this sassy black lady on the other line, and she's like, "Well, if you don't have the license plate, I ain't giving you shit, or I ain't sending out anyone." And then she hangs up on his ass. Like there's like there's a life in danger that we think.
Yeah.
But
They just keep hanging up on each other like the whole movie.
yeah.
Like each time they call, like one of them hangs up on the other one. It's so spiteful. Like in the middle of like them talking, they'll just hang up real quickly.
They just hate their jobs.
Like,
There's constant hanging up too. It's just like
yeah.
It's like if you don't want to do your job, just don't come in that day.
Exactly.
Never mind. You need money, right? I never want to do my job.
No, I don't blame you.
It's really not that bad. Sometimes I have some really interesting phone calls. So,
I feel like getting like being a police dispatcher would suck because that'd be very stressful.
Yeah.
Being working in like a call center for like Delta would have like I feel like it's ups and downs. Like
yeah.
it would be interesting, and then like you'd get like funny calls, but you'd also get like douchebags.
Yeah, and
I just mix oil and soybeans.
What?
I mix corn oil and soy oil all day. I'm a pseudoscientist.
Ooh,
So I work in a lab, but I'm not a scientist.
Huh? Is it ADM?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I mean, that's a good enough job.
It's good money. It's good. It's just I can't leave, so I feel like a bird trapped in a cage sometimes.
Yeah.
But it is fun mixing chemicals with corn and soy oil because they turn different colors, and that is the highlight of my day. Being like a little toddler, fucking mixing this shit like, ooh, it's pink now, and then just put it down.
So is that your job? You just mix shit together?
Pretty much. That's all I do. I taste it too.
What?
Yeah, you have to before the chemicals go in. I taste the oil, and I made the mistake of tasting this stuff called teeter, which is like a chemical reaction of like titrating. It's too smart for me to understand, but I just know that whenever you taste it, you're not supposed to taste it, but when you taste it, it'll harden immediately in your mouth and coat your mouth like wax.
Oh.
I didn't know this, and I freaked the fuck out and started scraping it off the roof of my mouth, like running around. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we've all done that. I've done it like 3 times myself." I'm like, "Oh, so it's no big deal, then."
This dude's addicted to it. My strange addictions. I'm gonna eat teeter.
It tastes like scentless wax.
He just likes the way it feels. It's like when you put peanut butter on the roof of a dog's mouth. They're like, that's what he does the same shit. He's like,
it's just really smooth, and it just kind of my tongue glides across the top of my mouth. It's nice.
He's just like sitting there smacking his gums again. And you're just like, dude, seriously? He's like, yeah, I made it. I put it on my sandwich today.
Oh God! But we completely derailed. What were we?
We were talking about the guilty. And how,
okay.
So Emily has already called Joe. They've already called the highway patrol, and then Joe calls the home phone and speaks to their daughter after, because he says he's not going to hang up on Emily, but he does to give or does he actually call the home phone from his phone, or because he's on hold. I know he starts calling from his personal phone later on to get a hold
I
of.
don't know how. I think he received that call because I don't remember him. Like he didn't have the number. I don't think. Honestly, I don't remember how he got a hold of the kid.
Huh.
How the fuck did he get? Did they call? Did that little girl
It's
call the cops?
it says Joe calls. Oh, it's because he goes and he looks up. I think he looks up
Uh,
her name or something. I think she maybe.
Mine just says he then calls Emily's home phone number,
Yeah.
not saying how he got it. I don't remember how he got it.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
Like I just remember, like out of nowhere, he's like talking. He like calls her home phone. I remember being confused. Like, wait, when did he like get that information? Maybe it was like there was a lot of like jump cuts and everything, like where they kind of like show the computer for a second, and they show Jake Jiggleballs, and they show the whatever else, and it was probably in that like split second up on the thing, up on the thing. Listen to me, up on the screen, or had her number maybe.
Anyway, he
That's
calls
all I
her, and Abby's like, "My daddy's mean, and his name is Henry, and he's mean." And then he's like, "Well, what happened? Where did they go? Where are they going?" And she's like, "I don't know. They're in a van." She's not like that at all. She's not very. Her cadence is very scared and not whimsical. But it's uh I'm just
A
describing
lot
it
of
as if
different ones.
she's like, my dad's an asshole and he beats the shit out of my mom and sometimes he beats the shit out of me. um
You sound like John Mulaney for a second. My
but
dad's an asshole.
sometimes he beats the shit out of me. um So, but yeah, that's basically the gist of it. And then, so I'm trying to remember who he calls again. This is such a weird movie because it all takes place in two rooms. The first room that he's working in, and then he goes into a private room. It's not a strip club,
Yeah,
but
he just it's yeah, it was filmed. One of the trivia things says it's filmed during COVID, so they're all filming. It's just Jake and what is the other actor's name? Adrian Martinez, and then like a bunch of background actors. But
yeah,
they're basically just in one room, and then they switch to another room. It's just Jake making a bunch of calls, and it gets kind of confusing who he's calling next because you got to go solely off of the voice of the person.
yeah.
But I think he calls. Oh, so after he gets a hold of uh, Abby, the daughter, he calls CHP again, and then they actually have one shot outside of the room, and this is the only one. It was from a body cam where they're trying to find this van, but during this whole thing, there's a forest. There's like a fire going on because it's like California in the summer, and it's just like roaring with fire,
Right.
wildfire everywhere. So there's smoke everywhere, and they're trying to find this van, and CHP is reluctant to send anyone out there because of the fire. But they finally get somebody out there. They're trying to locate this van, and they find one white van, and they pull it over. And from the body cam, for a little bit, you see him walking up to the van. And lo and behold, obviously, it's not going to be the person. They pull this guy out and like scare the shit out of him. He's like freaking out. But that's like the only shot they have outside. But that, and then I think he gets a call from Emily next, or was that before?
Well, he gets
Oh, I'm sorry. That was,
yeah, so that all happens for sure. He does get so like what
that that happened before the home phone call. My
Okay.
bad.
Wait, the home phone call to Abby, right? That all happened beforehand.
Yeah, that
Okay.
happened before the Abby call. My bad. I'm kind of skimming through the synopsis. It's been like a week since we watched it. We were trying to record it the next day, but a lot of things, personal life, got in the way for a little
uh,
bit.
Heart health.
Heart health, uh, family hospitalization. She's fine. It's just
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
that serious, but it's just personal life. But
Hopefully
I'm
they're doing
trying.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing great. It's just a little case of the cellulitis.
Mm.
Um, but anyway, that all happened before the home phone call.
And then
Um,
and then Joe Jiggleballs, he's he's getting a hold of Abby, and then he's pressing her. He's like, "What's your dad's phone number?" And she just fucking knows that shit. She's just like she's a very, and he's like, "You're a very smart girl, yeah." And then he starts writing this stuff down. He's like, what's the numbers? What are the numbers? What are they? What? And I'm not even exaggerating about how that's how they talk throughout the whole movie. Where he's like, and that's the and then that's the number, and then what was the last? What was the last two? What was the Abby, Abby, and he's just like,
you're not wrong. I swear to God, they only had 20 pages for the script, and they just padded time by stuttering.
uh, and then he relays it to CHP, which is the California Highway Patrol. In case you don't remember what that was, because I fucking didn't. Um,
I didn't either.
and
I kept reading it as Chip.
and he relays to the chip. What's the chip? He also sends a patrol car. He sends a patrol car so like to get or to check on the kids after he relays the information to CHP to Chip. Um, and that's to check on Oliver, which we find out there's another kid, Oliver. She's like, Abby's like, my baby brother's in here too, and they told me not to go in his room. That's our red flag. It's like they told me.
Yeah.
They
Told
told
me
me.
not to wake them.
Yeah, they told me not to go in there, and I listen. And then apparently, she eventually goes in there, and then she's like, "Well, we'll get to it because it's a big reveal." Um, so he then calls his friend Rick, I think, right? Or maybe Rick calls him, but it's
He calls Rick,
yeah. And then he's like,
who's his ex-partner.
yeah, and then we know that Jake's gonna be um, on trial, or he's got a hearing tomorrow. So and Rick is gonna be testifying on his behalf, and so he's like, hey, are you still active right now? Are you on duty? And he was like, I just got off duty. He was like, okay, well, can you do something for me? Can you go to this address? And then he's like, no, man, I'm oh, no, doesn't he say that he will? He's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then he goes to this
He's kind of like
address.
reluctant about it.
Yeah, he's like, and
'Cause I
then,
think he'd been drinking.
yeah. Then he goes to this, no, has he been drinking? Because, oh yeah, because Jake Jiggleballs is like, I know you, man. You don't drink, dude.
Hell yeah.
And he's just like, I know you. I know you better than you know you. You don't drink. You don't drink. Fool. But like
Joe
Rick's
Baylor is probably one of the people who calls all of his friends homies, but like not sarcastically.
I see that. Oh my god. I also call people dog. What's up, dog?
What up, DAWG?
This thing straight.
I call people homies, but I try to make it sound as nerdy as I possibly can, like I shouldn't be saying it. What's up, my homies?
What up, bro? What up, my
Bro?
What up, my guy?
My guy.
My guy. What the fuck? What up, dog? How you doing, dog?
What up, dog? What's up, homies? My guy.
It's basically the gist of what we think Jake Gyllenhaal in this movie is like. He's a police officer, but he's also just a fucking dork.
He acts like a man-child, so I mean, he could just be a dorky man-child.
I mean, he breaks more shit than he breaks more shit than I would care to see in a movie about somebody being in a call center. That's not your property, dude. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Doesn't he like punch a computer screen or something?
Yeah, he knocks like a lamp over. He like throws his headset a bunch. I think he does eventually punch a computer screen. Like he's a fucking asshole. He's a
Yeah.
Well, you were worried about Henry this whole time. I can see why you were I can see why you got divorced, my guy. I can see why you got divorced.
Yeah, honestly, my gay.
My gee. My gee. My gee.
I can see why you got divorced, Miggy.
Where's my gee?
It sounds like you're saying one of three things. My guy in a weird tone of voice and saying my gi, like you're
Like karate.
practicing kung fu and you have a gi. Yeah. And McGee, like MCGEE, like your friend. Like you're looking for McGee.
Where's McGee?
Or your keys.
Where's McGee?
Where's McGee?
Where's McGee? It's like, I'm right here. I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about my gi.
McGee.
Somebody shows up with a
Where's
karate
McGee?
outfit. It's like, there it is. There's McGee.
There it is. Where's McKee? He took McKee's and went to get McGee.
This has gone too far.
That's my middle name, Joe Gone Too Far Edwards.
It's less funny than the actual middle name.
Yeah. Yeah. My middle name's Stoner, if anyone wanted to know. From birth.
And that's real.
It's real. It's very real. Now, anytime somebody's like, do you even smoke weed? I'm like, yeah, Stoner is my middle name. And it's true. Stupid.
Anyway.
Jesus.
So, Rick is at this. He's not going to go to the house where Abby is. He wants Rick to send officers to, like other officers over to check on Abby and Oliver. But he wants to send Rick to another location. I guess they had been separated for a while because there's a couple addresses on Henry. Like he sees a couple addresses, like it's a different address than the one that Abby was at, right? So they're kind of separated,
Yeah.
right? Like they still have the two kids together.
Kind of like estranged.
Yeah. So Henry and Abby are separated. They go to Henry's place, and then he's trying to convince Rick to. He's like, kick that door down, just kick it in, and he's like, and Rick's like, nah, dude, I'm a good cop, and then. And then Jiggleballs is like, "You're a bitch if you don't kick that door down." And then Rick's like, "Okay, I don't want to be a bitch." So he kicks the door down. It's the equivalent of like when we were in high school or elementary school and we were really stupid and we'd be like, I don't know if you remember being like loosely homophobic we were like loosely homophobic for like no goddamn reason, like because we didn't really know.
Oh yeah.
We were like, oh, if you don't do this, you're gay, like shit like that.
Yeah.
Like that's how
And
I.
you're like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gay. I'll do it.
That is just the most childish insult. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of fits us being like really, really young.
Yeah.
It's definitely the Xbox kid era.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I never had an Xbox.
I didn't own an Xbox. Me either.
But I still had the mentality of a kid who just went on there and was like, your mom's fat. I was like,
I'm your dad now. Stuff like that.
yeah. It's like I just teabag your brother. And that, but you're gay because you didn't do that thing that one time. It's like I'm pretty sure that's the definition of gay. What you just said.
Yeah,
What you just said you did.
Is there something you wanted to tell us? No.
Not that gay is an insult at all.
No.
But we used to think so.
Being a dumb kid, yeah. Just dumb kids. Not really dumb, just ignorant.
But that's how.
I mean, I guess that's kind of one and the same sometimes.
Yeah. But that's how he gets Rick to kick the fucking door down. He's like, yeah, well, you're. It seems that way anyway. I'm pretty sure he just coaxes him into it, but it's just like, you're stupid if you don't, though. And he's like, well, I don't want to be a little. Or it's like, you're a bitch if you don't. And he's like, well, I don't want to be a bitch, so. And he's like,
You're dumb little stupid poopy pants if you don't kick in that door. Well, I don't want to be dumb little stupid poopy pants.
God damn it. I don't want to be a stupid poopy pants.
Don't be stupid poopy pants. You don't kick in that door, I'm gonna tell everyone on the forest you're a dumb little turd sniffer. I don't want to be a dumb little turd sniffer.
I've never even smelled poop before.
You know I lost my sense of smell.
That's like Dewey Cox. I hope we eventually get Walk Hard, because that's one of the funniest fucking movies. I could do it.
I quote that movie all the time.
I could do that episode right now. But we would watch it, of course.
Yeah, I know. I'll take any excuse to watch Walk Hard. I love that movie so much.
The extended cut. Well, Dewey Raheem? Yeah, there's like a there's like an unrated version that has like extra scenes and stuff. It's really good. But
is that the one with whenever they have that sex scene in the hospital?
Yeah.
Pulls off the shirt and he's got like abs and everything.
Yeah.
Or is that the normal?
I think that's the unrated one. He's got too many. He's got too many blankets. I'm so. He's like, I'm so hot. He needs less blankets. He's like, he needs more blankets and he needs less blankets.
I'm hot and cold at the same time. Oh, doctor, he needs more blankets and less blankets. I think you're right.
Okay. Now this is just turning into us talking about Walk Hard.
It's reefer, Dewey. Can't you smell it? No, Sam.
I can't. We're in here doing uppers. It's like we're in here doing uppers and downers. It's the logical next step for you.
What are you doing in here? We're doing Viagra. It gives you a boner. I don't think I want any part of that, Sam. Didn't you hear me, Dewey? It gives you a boner.
The best one is the cocaine one because he's like, it turns all your bad feelings into good feelings. It's a nightmare.
I think I want me some of that cocaine.
Okay, we gotta save this for if we ever get Walk Hard because like that's gonna be the best episode.
I really hope we get it next. I'm hoping and praying.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but it could.
I'll make a vision board right now.
I think we're hitting our peak here. It's like this. I'm actually the first couple episodes or the first few episodes we were kind of just getting our stride together, but I think we've hit where we need to be for this podcast because we're not even talking about the movie anymore.
Just fucking every chance we get, we just start talking about some other movie, or it just goes to show how terrible this movie is.
I mean, we're
doing everything we can to not talk about it.
We're still gonna talk about it.
Unfortunately, yeah. That is the quest that we have bequeathed ourselves.
I didn't queef on anything. That was a terrible joke.
I liked it. It was still funny.
Anyway.
Tongue in cheek, but it was still good.
So basically, some shit happens. Rick finds out that Henry has a did Rick find that out, or did Joe find out that Henry has a history of assault? I think Rick found that.
Rick does, yeah.
And that's one of the first things he finds about him. But that is so he starts calling. I think he calls Abby calls Joe, and she's like, there are a couple dudes at my house, and it's the police. Mm-hmm. And Joe's like, yeah, go ahead and let those dudes in. They're cool. I know them. And then the officers go in, and they're like, yo, what's in this room? And Abby's like, they told me not to go in there. Oliver's asleep. And then they're like, nah, fuck that, we're going in. And then they they open the door.
Waking that fucking baby up right now.
Wake up, we gotta go.
Come on.
So they open the door and they find... Or wait, was there blood on Abby? Did Abby go into the room first?
Yeah.
There's blood on her.
You see blood on her hands, and then they go into the room.
Yeah, okay.
And
that makes sense.
Oliver,
Yeah. They're like, oh, shit. And then they're like, they find this child who's, like, gravely injured. Like, he is severely hurt. But we don't know whether or not he's injured or dead yet. So we're just like, oh man, he's like, we think this kid's like fucked. I thought he was like, the kid was just like really hurt. But then they start like making it seem like he may be like dead. So like, once
like
that
the cops start like almost throwing up, they're like dry heaving. They're like, oh god.
Yeah, which I think is ridiculous too. Like that's a part of the overacting that you were talking about. But honestly, I would be that way if I saw a dead kid, probably though. So
I would too. Yeah, or even just a sleeping kid, you know.
or a child in general.
Just a child. Oh god.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Never in my years have I seen such vulgarity.
I'm just a child. Fuck you. You make me puke.
Get out of my face, child. You're gonna make me hurl. Okay, so like.
I'm allergic to children. You need to Get that baby out of here.
Do you work at Monsters Inc?
Don't you work at a daycare? Yeah, it's hell.
It's hell. I'm constantly having to take my little EpiPen out and smack myself with it. It's really, I should get a different job. Yeah, you think?
It's the only place that would hire me on such short notice. I just moved here.
And the first place you chose was a daycare?
Even though I thought Zyrtec would help.
I'm loaded up with antihistamines. Like, I thought that would help.
This episode brought to you by Zyrtec. Anyway.
Zyrtec, please sponsor us.
They would hear it and they'd be like, they're talking about being allergic to children.
Like, yeah, it's a no for me, guys.
So yeah, we come back to Joe and he's calling Emily back and he's like, hey, be quiet, act like you're talking to Abby, and when you can, I want you to pull that handbrake as hard as you can. And she's like, okay. And then she's like, where? And then the car's like, but it doesn't crash.
Surprisingly, like, they're on the interstate and she pulls the handbrake. It's just like, and it just drives off again.
And then Henry's like, I had enough of your shit. And then he puts her in the back of the van. And it's like, you ain't touching that handbrake anymore. He just puts her in the back. And then she's like, it didn't work. And then she's like, and I think this is where the reveal happens, because I think Joe's trying to convince Emily to smack Henry in the face with a brick. And then he's like, so
he for some reason has in the back of his car.
Yeah, he's got bricks. Because, like, you think, like, the whole time, here's what I was thinking. I was like, this is like the Eminem Kim song, right? Where he's about to, like,
I don't know if I'm familiar with that.
So in the song Kim with Eminem had a song called Kim, and the song is about killing his girlfriend. So Eminem puts Kim in the back of his car, like the trunk, and he's got like bricks and cement or some shit, and he's about to drown her. So that's what I was thinking that this was. We may have to listen to that after this recording, just to give you a taste of what I was thinking the whole time. But
a little Kim and him.
A little Kim and him. And then, so that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, oh, he's about to just toss her ass over a bridge with weights attached to her limbs. But no, I don't know why he has the fucking bricks. I think maybe he worked for like a construction company or something. I don't know why he has that shit. But he has these bricks, and that becomes a plot point where it's like a MacGuffin. It's like he's like, what do you mean bricks? And she's like, I'm looking at these bricks. He's like, yeah, that's awesome. Take one of those and hit him in the face with it. And then, like, he's just a violent dude. He's like, I want you to make him bleed. He deserves it. He's like, he deserves to get hit in the face with a brick. And up to this point, you kind of think so. But also, like, that's pretty crazy if you don't know the whole story, my guy. So,
assumptions, I guess.
Before that happens, like, after he tells her to hit him in the face with a brick once the car stops, and he gets out. Was that like was the handbrake thing a part of it? No, because that was after.
That was before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that was yeah.
she starts talking to him, Joe, not Henry, but Joe. She starts talking to Joe about believing that Oliver had snakes in his body. At this point, it prompted me to go, no, those are his intestines. But she's like, it's okay. He's okay now. I took those out. And we were like, what the fuck? She
Jesus.
cut her son's intestines out. It was just because she just assumed there were snakes in his stomach. Which, I mean, they're gonna die anyway, lady. Like, if he actually ate snakes, they're not gonna survive.
Yeah. No.
I mean, unless they were like a tapeworm.
If anything, if he's got snakes in his stomach, that just means he's well fed.
Yeah. Or he has a tapeworm, so he's not really well fed.
Yeah, no.
But
quite the opposite, honestly.
Yeah, she said she took them out. So she removed what she thought were snakes, which I can only assume is his intestines. So Henry stops the van, and she eventually does hit him in the face with a brick. And he's like, "Ow, what the fuck?"
Oh, what the fuck?
And then she runs away. She's like, "Doo, doo, 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 doo." And then Joe's like, "All right, job well done. We did it. We got him." But like he's still like, because doesn't he have like a shocked look on his face after?
Yeah, he freaked out.
No, okay, so yeah, he tells her to hit him in the face with a brick before she reveals it, right? So then, and then whenever she does reveal it, that's whenever he's like, "Oh shit." Yeah.
Fucked up.
Yeah. And then whenever she runs away, he tries to call. Again and be like, we gotta catch this lady. Like, we gotta catch her now. And they're like, Are we looking for the white van still? I was like, no, you're looking for a bitch that ran out of a white van.
Oh yeah, that really narrows it down. Thank you.
I say bitch because she killed her kid. I don't call women bitches. But she did. Yeah. She did try to kill her kid. So she a bitch. I just want to make that perfectly clear before anybody's like, "That's mean." It's like, no, she deserves it.
Yeah, she kind of had it coming.
Yeah. So that happens. She runs away, and then so he's like, "You gotta find that girl now. Don't give a shit about the husband anymore. He's been neutralized." So. And turns out
is down. He's been neutralized.
He's been hit in the face with a brick. Ow!
I guess you could say he's been bricked.
Mine wasn't even a pun. It was just like, he's been hit in the face with a brick. So anyway, that happens, and then Rick. Wait, hold on. Was Rick not already in Henry's apartment? I thought that was where he was.
He was looking around. There was like a bunch of mail everywhere, so he had to sift through it. Mind you, Joe's being a complete asshole, and Rick's like, "Yeah, there's like a shit ton of mail here," and like Joe's like, "Go through it." He's like, "Go through it? It's like fucking like months worth of shit here." And he's like, "No, you're gonna go through it right fucking now." And basically just did the whole like, you're gonna be a stupid poopy pants. You don't fucking go through that mail.
He's like, well, you better hop to it, motherfucker. And
Oh,
he's just like, what? Fine, man, whatever. And he's just like, I don't want to be a dookie face. This is.
I don't want to be a stupid poop pig.
He's like, well, you're gonna be a stupid poopy pants if you don't go through that. So
Yeah, I'm on it, chief.
So Rick's like, well, I'm not gonna be a stupid poopy pants, and then he looks through the mail, and then he eventually finds a psychiatric documents from a psychiatric facility, and then so Emily was a patient at a psychiatric facility, and then he's like, "You ain't gonna believe this shit," and then Joe's like, "What is that?" And then he's like, Emily fucking crazy, dog. And then
He's like, oh, I believe it. She just told me she ripped the snakes out of her son's belly. He's like, what? No way.
he's like, that's fucking crazy. Ah, no. So, he's like, we're gonna have a laugh about this at the Christmas party, and then, so all Henry was trying to do was take Emily back to San Bernardino, where she was a patient before. He was like, the medication wore off and we weren't able to re-up on it because we couldn't afford that shit. Now I'm gonna have to take her ass back and pay for that shit even though I don't have that money, but we gotta do it because she just tried to murder my son. And then Joe's like, well, why the fuck didn't you tell me this shit while we were on the phone before? And he's like, because I don't trust the police. And, fair.
Yeah. Valid point, Henry.
And then he's like, I mean, if you've had a history of assault as well, I'm assuming he'd be like, you're lying or something. I could see where Henry's coming from,
would.
where he's like, look, man, I'm just trying to take my wife to a psychiatric hospital. She murdered my son. Let me do that shit. And I'm not kidnapping anybody. That could have been said, but I understand his hesitation to want to speak to a police officer after he has already been arrested for assault. So, because, you would not believe them if they have, because that's the evidence that they had, was that Henry had been arrested for assault on multiple occasions. And the cops are going to be like, yeah, well, this looks like kidnapping, dumbass, and you've also been charged with assault on multiple occasions. So I pretty much just talked in a circle. But
I think where Henry went wrong with it was if he had taken her in a sedan, it wouldn't have looked like kidnapping, but he took her in a white van, which is very stereotypically a kidnapper's vehicle.
Maybe that's all they had, man.
I think that's all they
had. Was there another car?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, Emily's got to have her own car, right? She's not driving the rape van. Sorry. She's not driving the van around. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah, it's fine. We're not advocating, and I don't think we made a rape joke. I think, those vans are kidnap vans, and that is something that typically does happen to kidnap victims, which is
it does
disappointing and disgusting, but
very much so. I'm just trying to be a little conscientious. I'm not trying to offend anyone. It just slipped out. Just the kidnapper's van.
Yes, the
KV.
A white windowless van.
Yeah, he's not. It's get Emily's car. She probably has a car. She probably doesn't have the white van. That's where he went wrong.
Yeah.
If you'd taken the sedan or like another car, then they would have been like, "Oh, and wait, what car are you driving?" He's like, "Oh, I'm driving a Ford Focus." And like, "Oh, yeah, you're not kidnapping her."
Yeah, but then like you could probably add on to like if he took her car, because they're not living together. They could tack on like, oh, it's also Grand Theft Auto on top of kidnapping.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's like, but then like he can just be like, yeah, I didn't murder my kid. You can run tests on him and find out that
I don't have blood on me.
yeah, well he does after he gets hit with a
They-
brick.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But she has Oliver's blood on her. So that would have worked in his favor in the first place because they would have tested that blood. Like he could have just told Joe what the fuck was going on, I think, and then everything would have come out. Besides what happened, but
Yeah.
um,
Like they would have he wouldn't have believed him, but whenever they caught up with him, they would have seen that she had blood all over him, and like he would have been arrested right then and there more than likely. But
yeah,
then they would have found out that he's not bleeding anywhere. She's gonna be like, "Well, where'd that blood come from?" And then they would run tests on it, and then they'd find out like, "Oh yeah, Henry was telling the truth,"
yeah,
and then they'd take her.
right.
I think
Hopefully,
they were just trying to keep that twist so buried that they didn't want to. It's just a really big loophole, is what it is.
yeah,
Not loophole. It's a little plot hole.
yeah. Like, it seems illogical, like, but maybe it wouldn't be as interesting as a movie if, because I mean, it's kind of an interesting plot. It's just the execution.
Yeah.
The execution to me was not done very well. I mean, it was a COVID movie, so it's just
Yeah.
like, and I'm not saying that movies made during, well, I mean, we're still in the pandemic, but movies that were made in the heat of it, in the thick of COVID, when people were actually like wearing masks and shit, and we were like quarantined, like the actual thick of the illness,
Height of it.
the height. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of.
Because right now we're in the fallout of it.
Kind of, we're still in it though. It's just like because I feel like Fallout is that just like the
It's
aftermath,
dwindled
right?
down a little bit. So it's the fallout of the height. So it's like we're not. It's still pretty prevalent, and it's still a very serious disease that's
Right.
still out there. It's not. It's more managed now than
Yeah.
it was in 2020. Because now we can go without masks. We can go to restaurants, movie theaters, all that. All the things we couldn't do in 2020.
It's such a weird fucking
It's still
year.
very, very prevalent. It still is, yeah. It's crazy how many businesses closed down too. It's kind of sad. Like all these like businesses just like these families and businesses just uprooted from the not culture, the scene, I guess. Just like the surroundings. I can't think of the word. Neighborhood, I guess. All these like businesses and families just uprooted from the neighborhood and they're not coming back.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
This movie was made during that time, and so Jake Gyllenhaal wasn't necessarily. He's a good actor. He's a very good actor, but he's in this. He wasn't very good. But with what we know about the production of this film, I mean, it's not bad as like relation to like what they had to work with. Not a great movie, but it's.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they did it now, it'd probably be a better movie. Actually, go outside and probably see Henry. It'd probably be a little bit better. But
Yeah.
for what they had and what they were working with, it's not bad.
I feel like it's cool.
just,
I feel like it's cool
like
that
you
you
said.
that you don't see any of the characters besides Jake in a way. I think it is kind of cool that they were able to have an
Yeah.
isolated movie like this where it's definitely worth watching if you want, like, because it's a thriller. Like, it keeps your attention, but it's not a movie that I would sit down and watch again just because I don't care for it as like a consumer.
Well, see that's the downfall of like movies that rely on a twist, like this movie does. Like
Yeah.
it's once you know the twist, it's not worth watching again.
Right.
Like it was a big reveal the first time, but after going back to it, it's not going to be worth it.
It's like a negative side about M. Night Shyamalan movies. Like, there's some of them that, like, so movies that will stand the test of time and I can watch over and over again despite knowing what the twist is. Movies like The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable. That's it. The Sixth Sense,
I still haven't
Unbreakable.
seen Unbreakable.
I liked Split too. Split was pretty good. It was in that same Unbreakable universe. It was Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. I will never watch Glass again. That was the worst goddamn movie. I think. Well, okay. I don't want to say it's the worst movie M. Night Shyamalan's ever done because there's a lot of bad stuff in that catalog. Lady in the Water exists. The Last Airbender. I think he also did The Visit with that stupid rapping kid. Ugh.
Oh, I hated that movie. Oh, it's so bad.
I like the promos for it where it's like, why are old people scary? They're not. They're scary. They're scary looking, but you could beat the shit out of one.
See, what makes old people scary is that you could become an old person one day.
Oh.
That's the scary part.
Oh yeah, he also made Old, which is that movie where people end up on a beach and they age rapidly. I haven't seen it, but I'm scared to watch it because I know because I kind of want to see it just to form my own opinion, but it's like, it's M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, he's got kind of leaves a bad taste. Like, so M. Night Shyamalan is to the genre thrillers and mystery movies what Michael Bay is to action movies.
Yeah.
You just don't want to. It leaves like a bad taste in your mouth. You're like, oh, who did this movie? M. Night? Oh, never mind. I don't want to.
The Happening is also. Was it? It's
Oh,
not.
yeah.
It's not. It's not After Earth. Is it with Will Smith and Jaden Smith?
Is that an M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Yeah, I mean he was
That's why it's bad.
he was left off of most. Or I'm pretty sure he had. Maybe he has a producer's credit. I don't know if he actually directed it. Let's see. After Earth.
Yeah, I never watched that. Just like, I just didn't. I don't like. And Jaden and Will are the only father-son actors I can think of. But I just don't like. I don't know. It just doesn't like bringing your own kid into it. Just doesn't. It's like
Yeah.
nepotism. Like you could probably get somebody better.
Yeah, it was
Like,
directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
It was.
Yeah.
What was the twist in it? Because like all M. Night Shyamalan movies have a twist. Even The Last Airbender had a twist. The twist was that it was a shit movie when you thought it was gonna be good.
I think the twist of The Last Airbender is that if anybody is an earthbender, they can only move one rock at a time.
Yeah, and the fucking anime, they're moving like big ass boulders, but in the movie they're just like punching little pebbles.
Yeah. And then like they're doing all this like dance move shit, and then like you just see like a one big ass rock just float across the screen.
Very slow too. Just like
It's
just cross the screen.
it's so bad. we might get the Last Airbender, which I'd be excited for because as somebody who has seen it and has laughed hysterically at it, I'd be ready to watch it again at this point in my life.
Me too. I would very much. I've watched the anime like 2 or 3 times. I'm a fan of it. Little childish, but I mean it's still good. So the
I haven't
movie was definitely a
finished
big
it.
disappointment for me.
I haven't finished the actual show. I've watched some of it, and what I've seen, I really do enjoy. I don't think it's that.
Well done for a Nickelodeon show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was childish. I feel like the characters have a lot of depth to them, which is
They do.
It's like surprising to me because, like, okay, I'm a huge Nickelodeon fan. Not so much the Dan Schneider stuff, but like the cartoons. So I grew up watching Nickelodeon cartoons. So I also watched some Cartoon Network, but I was like enamored by the cartoons for Nickelodeon. And so this was one of them that I kind of missed because I kind of stopped watching around that time just because I was getting older and I was like, I don't want to watch cartoons right now. I've gone back to it because I do like animation, but
Me too.
it's just like
So I grew.
I grew out of
watching.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
I grew out of watching cartoons not because I thought it was a childish thing, but just because, like, at that point in time in my life, I was just like, I don't really want to watch cartoons. That's just not for me right now. And then I was just also figuring out other shit, like puberty.
See, I grew up watching Avatar because that was around the time that I was like right before preview puberbation. I don't know.
Prepubescence.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I was trying to make a new word out of
What
puberty.
what the fuck did you just say?
I was trying to make a whole new word out of pubertization. Like the process of going
Pre-pubertization?
through puberty. It was like a tongue twister. I couldn't get it out. But I watched that religiously, and then I stopped for a while, and then I think after I had a kid and I started watching cartoons again, I came back to it and watched the whole series. I'm like, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And then that was around the time I started watching anime again, because I started whenever I was like really, really young with my cousin, and then I was like, this is stupid. Anime sucks. And then I watched Full Metal Alchemist. I'm like, anime's really sad. It's a really good show.
Yeah. So, back to the movie.
Yeah, where were we?
We were talking about where they just found the psychiatric documents where it says that Emily was a psych ward patient, and we found out that she tried to kill her son. She didn't try to harm him. She just tried to remove snakes from him, which unintentionally hurt her son.
Yeah.
So she runs off with Henry's phone. She's like, she's booked it. She's the fastest woman alive. Because we cut back, or we get to the call center, or well, we're always in the call center. We don't leave the call center. So Emily calls Joe, and she's like about to kill herself. I don't know how to make that nice, how to put that nicely, but she's standing on the freeway overpass, and she's just like, I want to go be with Oliver now. And this is where we're like, Oh, she actually killed that fucking child though. She's like, I'm a go be with Oliver, and then like you can hear like the cars down below from the overpass, and it's like everybody's honking and shit. Presumably because somebody's standing on the overpass. So she's just like,
Yeah.
you can hear the cars honking, and she's just like, I'm gonna go be with my son now. And Joe starts crying, and he's like, no, everything's gonna be fine. You got a daughter at home. He doesn't mention. He doesn't mention Oliver.
Not at all.
He's like, you've got a daughter who.
We'll get to that Oliver thing when we get to it, but Abby though is alive and well, and she misses you. Oliver, yeah. we'll get to that. Abby.
Yeah, she needs you. You don't need to do this
Oliver
shit.
doesn't, but Abby does.
The Oliver, he's fucked. But remember that time you stabbed him?
Yeah, he didn't bounce back from that.
Yeah. But then so he's trying to, so he's like, hold please, because I think he's either gonna call the highway patrol, or I think maybe he gets a call from them, or no, or do they just show up?
She says she's gonna be with Oliver, and then she hangs up.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
Then Chip calls, and they say that they got her down safely.
Yeah. They're like, we're at her location, and then they got her down. And then, yeah, that's.
I like to think that they got her the Joe Dirt way, where they like lassoed a bungee cord around her ankles, and she just fell and bounced right back up.
You can't go with those people, Joe.
Of course we could.
They're bad people. The lion goes dead. Joe thinks. So Joe's like, oh shit, she's dead. Oh fuck. And then he gets the call from CHP, Chip, and he's like, they're like, Chip, and they're like, yeah, she ain't dead. And then he's like, oh thank fuck. And then after that, he's like taking a piss or something. he's like, all right, now all of that hard work I just did in the course of my 8-hour shift, one case, all these phone calls, one situation. It doesn't sound like a very productive day, Joe.
Only had one call the whole day.
Yeah.
You've got a quota to meet, Joe. Can't be on one call the whole day.
It's his last day. That's why he was telling people to fuck off and shit. He was like, he was like, shut up. This is my last day or something. He didn't give a fuck anymore.
I got the power here. I got the hang up button. Boom.
There's also some other calls that we can talk about after this that he took, because he did take a few other ones before and during. So he's like, look.
Oh yeah.
He's like, look, I can't talk right now. And then like Bill Burr's a nightclub owner, and he's like, or maybe he's not even an owner. Maybe he's just going to a nightclub. He's just like, well, they locked me out. And then they're like. He's like, well, I don't really give a shit. I'm doing something. He's like, yo, you don't give a shit? A guy can't go to the nightclub no more? And
he's like, fuck you. He's like, fuck you. He's like,
yeah, fuck you.
I didn't even know it was Bill Burr whenever he called. But I was thinking, why does he sound so familiar? And then whenever we looked up later, I'm like, oh, it's Bill Burr. That's why that fuck you sounded really like Bostonian. Is he Bostonian or is he?
I think so. I think he's from Boston.
It sounded very like, "Hey, fuck you."
Yeah, let's see.
I've never been to Boston. I just assume that's what they sound.
Where are you from, Bill Burr?
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Massachusetts. So he's from Canton. So that's close, I think.
Yeah.
Massachusetts. It's not a very large state.
Nah, it's all Boston.
Yeah, it's all Boston. Like how all of Illinois is Chicago.
Pretty much. That's how everyone views it. You're from Illinois? Oh, what's Chicago like? I don't know. I've only been there like twice.
Yeah.
I've been to Seattle more than I've been to fucking Chicago.
I think Chicago's the city I've been to the most. Well, no, I think Dallas might have beaten it. Now.
Let's say, Shawn, you live in a city.
Oh yeah, Fort Worth. Fort Worth is the most I've ever been. It's the city I've been to the most, I think. Because I go in and out of Fort Worth every day.
Wait.
I work in a different town, technically. So yeah, I go in.
Oh yeah, you live in betwixt.
Yeah, but it's still not in Dallas. I think it's like Euless or something. And then it's like I go back to Fort Worth every day to live. to live my life. I stop living temporarily while I'm working. And then whenever I'm going back to Fort Worth, that's when I'm alive.
Don't we all?
I die a little bit when I have to go make money.
Man, me too. I die a little bit inside every time I have to taste the new oil. Because then it gets in my beard and mustache and I have to wipe it out. It's all greasy.
Do you get full off of it?
Do I get what?
Do you get full off of drinking?
I don't ingest it. I just taste it. So I put it in my mouth. It's like a wine tasting, but with corn oil and soy oil. So I'll put it in my mouth, swish it around a little bit, and just spit it out.
That's so weird.
It's really high class.
I've never
little wine glasses.
I didn't know that's what you had to do. What is your job called? What?
I am a laboratory technician.
A laboratory technician.
Try to make it sound fancy, but I'm just
an oil taster.
I'm pretty much just an oil taster. I swish around oil with I'll use I mess with hydrochloric acid.
Oh.
It's very, very, very diluted.
Very diluted. You put that in your mouth?
No. I mean, maybe. No. I'll mess with just a bunch of different chemicals ionized water. There's I'm trying to think of all the names. There's something octane. There's acetone. It's just a bunch of chemicals that I can barely pronounce, and they turn in different colors, and that means different things. But I basically just take the cups, which are very warm, and they look like piss, so it feels like just a warm cup of piss that I'm getting dumping into these flasks, and then I weigh it out, I swirl it around, look at it, and then I jot down the numbers, and then put them in a computer. For 8 hours.
That sounds like a pretty nice job.
It's not bad. I'm a temp right now, so I don't make the big bucks. I don't get the extensive vacays, but I still make decent money.
That's cool. All right, fuck.
Yeah.
So, you got a fancy job? That's cool. I got a fancy job. You taste
fancy jobs.
You taste oil. I take phone calls. that's what's up.
It's pretty much, yeah. We sell to. Oh, any listeners out there, if you like Frito Lay's, Frito corn chips, I have tasted all of that oil that is made those corn chips. So you can thank me in cash donations, no less than $500.
No less than 500. We're keeping this ad free. You should give us money.
You should, yes, give us money, please, so I don't have to taste oil every day.
And have that, like, what you said, there's like a thick film that forms on your tongue whenever you say it hardens.
If I drink teeter, which is a very specific, so like most of the corn oil, I only taste what are known as deodorizers, which is right before they're shipped out. So that's why we taste them to make sure they're bland. Is what we're looking for. If they're a little corny, then it's fine. If they're a little beany, it's fine. But what we want is a perfect 10, which is no taste at all, just viscous oil.
That sounds awful.
It's my least favorite part of the job. Other than that, I like looking at pretty colors. And I like feeling like a scientist because I get to mess with a bunch of different machines like Carl Fisher, which is just like a moisture thing, a moisture test. I test for chlorophyll, test for a bunch of different things. And it's fun for like 4 hours, and then it gets annoying.
Huh.
But it's a paycheck, and it's better than working at Walmart.
Yes. There we go.
I will die on that hill.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, I feel like there are Walmart employees who are like, I wish I had a better job. Like every single one.
Yeah. And, it beats working at Walmart, which is a terrible job. Some people do it for 20 years, and, they've got, rhino hide or something, stone hearts, because I only lasted, a year.
Yeah. I've pretty much quit every job I've ever had because they've mostly just been restaurant jobs. And they all suck.
Oh, yeah.
So
all the restaurant jobs I've quit. Walmart jobs, I worked there 3 times. Quit once, quit twice, got fired once, They fired me, so I quit on them twice, You know how it goes.
Wait, they fired you, brought you back, and then you quit, and then they hired you again? And then you quit?
So I got fired, went to another Walmart and worked in the deli, quit. And then I went back to the same Walmart that I got fired from, worked for 2 months, and then quit because it sucked.
Huh. What the fuck?
All the people out there, you're better than the jobs that you have. There's always better jobs out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just gotta look for something better.
Yeah, just don't let anyone. I mean, they're your boss, but
I mean,
they only treat you so bad.
It's not so much better as in pay wise, but just the way you get treated too. There's definitely better places to work where you're gonna be treated better as an employee. So.
Oh, for sure. Don't settle for being treated like shit.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I left Walmart, because they. And this is a Walmart diss track, Shawn, fire up the beat. We're gonna go in on Walmart. No, there's other places like it that are like that. It just just don't settle for that. Speak out. Don't be a cog.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be a cock. Don't be a cock in the wheel. We're all cogs though, but whatever. We're gonna talk about that.
You can at least be. We're all cogs, but you can at least try to be treated like a human being.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's wrap let's wrap this guilty shit up. So Joe's taking a piss, as you do, and then he calls Rick and he's like, "Look, man, after all this shit that happened, just testify against me." And Rick's like, "Bro, I'm not doing that shit." And then he's like, "Dude, straight up, like, tell him I'm guilty because I killed this dude because I knew I could get away with it because I'm a cop." And then he was like, "Yeah, that's the beauty of it. You can get away with it because you're a cop." And then he's like, "No, I killed that motherfucker. And I'ma say that I did it because I did." And he was like, "You can get out of this." And he was like, "I don't want to." And then that's basically the end of the movie. We kind of cut, like, it kind of like fades out, and then it shows like a news report, and it's like, Joe Baylor has pled guilty to manslaughter, and then that is pretty much how it ends. What do you rate this? What do you rate this piece of shit?
Oh God. I'm gonna give it 2 balls jiggling out of
2 jiggle balls out of 10. All right.
2 jiggling out of 10.
That's perfect. That's the perfect amount of balls to jiggle. If I had to go out of 10, this one's really difficult because I don't think it was as I don't think it was
being a little harsh.
I don't think it was as bad as 2 jiggle balls, but
No, I'm gonna say about a 5.
I'd go a little lower than that. I'd say maybe like a 4 out of 10. I don't think it was like I don't think it was good enough to be considered. Well, it was a movie. I also don't think it was like it had its interesting moments where you were like, okay, I get why, because it's a thriller. Like it, and I usually love thrillers or horror or whatever, but this is just a straight crime thriller. But it's hampered by the fact that it takes place in 2 rooms. I don't know if a thriller should be considered a thriller if there's nothing thrilling going on screen. Like if I'm not feeling if I'm not feeling anxious or I'm not feeling like a sense of dread or like the atmosphere is not giving me something, I don't care for it as a thriller, especially if that's what it's supposed to be. I felt nothing watching this except, oh, they killed a kid. But they actually didn't kill him.
Yeah.
The kid survives. That's something we didn't. The kid is in the ICU because the police that were at their house take him to the ICU after they get done throwing up. They can't even be in the room with the kid, but they took him to the fucking hospital. I guess maybe they called an ambulance or something.
They called him an ambulance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just stand over him like, you're an ambulance kid. And they just
Stupid ambulance. We called him an ambulance. Got him. High five.
Yeah, they take Oliver to the ICU and they tape up his little intestines back into his little body. He's all right as rain.
Yeah, he just jumps up. He's like, "All right, what the fuck happened, guys?"
Starts dancing like the frog from those really old cartoons. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
The baby. That racist ass frog.
Yeah. I forgot.
And yeah, so that was it. And I guess I'd give it a 4, just because like maybe a 3, 3.5. I'm gonna go 3.5.
I'll go
Jiggleballs.
4.5, 5. I'm only giving it higher because I do like Jake Jiggleballs, even though he was not good in this. It also had Paul Dano, who was really, really good, even though he had a very, very small part.
Yeah.
I'm not as like engrossed by thrillers like Shawn is. I'm not really a horror movie guy. I don't really like thrillers. I like fantasy movies. I'm a fucking nerd.
And we might, we'll probably end up covering some fantasy on this podcast as well. Because we're pretty much just going to watch whatever the fuck gets randomized, which brings me to it. Let me see. Let me share my screen. That way we can both see what it is. So share screen. So applications. Dun, dun, dun. Speaking of what movie we're gonna watch next. All right, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
All right, we've got all these streaming services, and we're also gonna be able to use YouTube to pay for any movies that we want to rent. So we pretty much have the world at our feet here when it comes to movies. So we're gonna randomize it now, and in about 3, a 2, a 1.
Teen Wolf. Alright, I guess we're watching Teen Wolf next.
We're gonna watch Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf, 1985. Banana, banana, banana. All right, that's
That dog is playing basketball.
That dog's playing basketball. That's the whole movie. When a if you haven't heard of Teen Wolf by now, it was a movie made in 1985, and it was also a MTV show for a while, I think. But it was because of the 1985 movie. I don't know what was up with MTV making, like, so they try to do like a Scream show, and for some reason I watched all of it. It sucked ass, but like it was one of those instances like where I was just like bored as fuck, and there was like 2 seasons of something, and I was like, oh, I like the actual I like the IP of this. I like the Scream franchise. Let's see what they did to make it a teen drama. And
no, terrible.
It's dog shit. But I watched all of it. I couldn't help myself either. Like, I was just like, this sucks, but I just want to see how it ends. It's like, I think it's just like how you're like, how like an old woman will be in a nursing home, or you can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. It's like
cut out.
it's like when a grandma is she's at a nursing home or something, and she's gotta watch her soaps. She's gotta watch her stories. Those never end though. But like,
No.
they fucking like I think
The soap operas go on for like 20 years.
yeah. What's the longest running soap?
Probably Days of Our Lives.
Longest running soap opera. Coronation Street. British soap opera. 37 fucking years.
Neighbors? 37. Jesus.
10 oldest
Has
soap
over
operas.
10,200 episodes. My God.
The Young and the Restless. I've heard of that. Days of Our Lives is on the top 10. So you were close. The Bold and the Beautiful. Neighbors. 8,384 episodes. Oh my god, dude. EastEnders. That's a Spanish one. Yeah, over 11,000 episodes? What? 47 seasons. How is that not the longest running? Maybe... Did they release one a fucking day? Like... General Hospital. Over 14,000 episodes of General Hospital. Oh my god, dude. Anyway, we're watching Teen Wolf. We're gonna have fun with this one. I don't think I've actually ever seen Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox. You still there? Alright, well anyway, we're going to go ahead and end the episode. We have had a good time talking about The Guilty. We kind of talked about other shit too. So, fuck yeah. Thanks for tuning in, if you have. If not, that's cool too. Bye.